The board took action to accept the resignation of employee number 3196 and 3241. Item 2, superintendent report that in closed session the board took action pursuant with Education Code section 44951 to direct the notice of reassignment for 22-23 school year, subsequent school year, being given to certificated administrators in the following position: Roseland Elementary School. The board directed the superintendent to give the affected administrators a notice prior to June 30th, set forth in the assignment for the following school year. The vote was 4-0. Okay. And on item C, the board took action to deny claim for damages. Any number on that? No, just that's it. A recording of this meeting is being made and shall be kept for 30 days as public record. Pledge of allegiance. I picked on you last time, Sal. Patrick, if you do it, please.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready to go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Patrick, that would be my latest sign.
And you made eye contact. I did.
Roll call. I am here. Lynn Salette is here. Sandy Hepburn is here. Wayne Moore is absent. Jim Bender is here. And Alexi Finch is here.
Yay!
Hey, I have been to most of them.
Most.
Yeah.
Except the one time when she thought it was here, it wasn't, so she had
Okay, before we approve the agenda, I do have a correction. On page 4, on Mr. Riley.
Megan Riley?
Yes, is Megan Riley. The correct salary is supposed to be $15.31, and instead of ALS, it's RES, REHS. Sorry. Oh, can I get a motion?
Motion.
second.
Motion by Hepburn, second by Lynn Salette. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-1 absent. Mr. Qualman, welcome back.
Well, hi there. And that's the first thing I have to do, I have to say. Well, I wrote it, so I have to say it. First of all, let me apologize for missing last year's board meetings. I've been practicing being retired.
You did good.
What, yeah, I can practice some more, too. Tonight, I want to touch upon the proposed 2022-23 school calendar. The district's calendar committee has had 3 meetings to discuss different possibilities and review 5 different calendar options. I apologize to the committee that I made a scheduling mistake and did not provide the RTA representative at the first meeting. The RTA Executive Board looked at the calendars at our first regular meeting in February. The RTA board voted unanimously to recommend calendar number 2, which is similar to this year's calendar. At its meeting yesterday, the district and some other committee members expressed commitment to calendar number 1. The RTA members on the committee attempted to give our reasons for wanting to keep the current calendar structure, but they felt as if the decision was predetermined and RTA had little or no voice in the decision. There are 2 main differences in the calendars: the placement of Parent Conference Day and a related non-student day that could be moved to the Easter weekend. RTA's recommendation is to keep parent conferences on Thursday, with the following Friday a student-free day. The calendar supported by the district is Friday for parent conferences without a related student-free day. This extra day would be placed on Easter Monday, creating a 4-day weekend in April. And I should have asked if the board has had the chance to review these 5 different calendars. But the issue about parent conferences, about the Parent Conference Day, is decades old. We had problems with the schedule and its inconsistency between elementary and secondary schools. RTA worked together with the district to create this schedule, eliminating inequities and continue to provide important conferences to our parents. All was well for 20 years. In the last 5 years, the district has worked every year to change the calendar we negotiated in good faith. Even more recently, the district unilaterally changed the schedule of conferences from 1 o'clock to 8 o'clock to the regular school day. RTA objected to this change, feeling many parents needed evening conferences to meet with teachers outside their regular workday. The district disregarded our concerns and made the change. We still hear from parents frustrated we no longer offer evening conferences. It just feels the district is concerned more with the calendar and the schedule they desire than what teachers feel works best in meeting with parents. But here are a few things that concern me even more. It was described to me that some members of the calendar committee, including board members sitting on the committee, expressed that teachers do not need the day off after parent conferences. Now, I was not in the room and I do not know what was said. I will say, however, who knows what teachers need or don't need other than teachers? I've done parent conferences for 30 years. I've sat in a chair, meeting with 80 to 90 parents, talking without stop, without a break, getting more and more stiff and uncomfortable, sweating, and putting on the best face and presentation I can, because parents deserve my undivided attention about their child. How do you know what I need the next day to decompress and recover the next day? SKUSD teachers have always appreciated the next weekday to feel appreciated for their efforts, then have a normal weekend and get ready for school the week ahead. The calendar supported by the district changes all of this and does so without knowledge or regard for the history of our current calendar. Another issue that caused me distress is what was relayed to me by RTA members on the calendar committee. The feeling told to me was this decision was predetermined and we do not have a voice in our district. I am hearing this more and more from my teachers. They're being given more to do with less of a voice. Now, I know we are sitting on curriculum committees, grading committees, and calendar committees, but do we have a voice? If you want teachers to give everything they have, and then even more, they need to be part of the decision-making process. RTA is not here to just fight and complain. That has never been our approach. RTA has always worked to be collaborative, a collaborative part of the decision-making process to give, gotta learn how to run my computer. RTA has always worked to be a collaborative part of the decision-making process to give the best for our students. Now, I believe the 2022-23 calendar will be presented to the board at its next meeting for adoption. RTA is not taking a final position on the calendar at this time. We have made our recommendation. I have asked the district for some clarification we have on expectations on the change in the calendar. I will again work with Mrs. Gaines and Mrs. Hargis over the next several days to to see if we can develop an understanding that meets the needs of the district, the parents, and the teachers. And so, like I said, we have not made a final decision on which side of this we're going to end up on. We're going to work with Mrs. Gaines and Mrs. Hargis, and we'll get our final recommendation when it's time to vote. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks very much.
Can I, I missed the last calendar meeting. Do we have another one before?
We do not,
We do not?
we do not. And I'm gonna talk about in my time, I'm gonna talk about.
You gonna talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, I have,
Because I'm a little confused because I thought number 2 was this one.
no, number one was, anyway, we'll talk.
Okay, let's talk about it together.
My hair. And that was there also there as an observer more than anything.
Okay.
So, what's going on? Well, I'll let Leanne, she'll
Let's
give
see
you
what changed.
what's going on.
That's fine.
Sure. Alan, you're up.
Hi.
Sorry.
We were waiting on Pete. He was gonna speak.
Oh, okay.
Hi. We want to say congratulations to the RHS basketball team for a great season. We just want to let it be out there that the next 2 CSEA chapter meetings will be March 31st and April 21st. The March 31st will be at 3:30 p.m. at Tropical Middle School. April 21st will be at 3:15 at Roseman Elementary. Moving forward, that all chapter meetings will be held in person, and we are going to be alternating sites to give all our members a chance to attend. CSEA meetings with the district office will be picking up as we prepare our next round of negotiations. A survey will be sent to our members soon to obtain input regarding the articles of the contract that may need updating. And we are still dealing with staffing issues in each department, but we are working with the district to resolve those.
Sorry.
That's short and sweet this time.
Ms. Fitch.
Good evening, everyone. Playoffs are over for all Warner sports. The boys basketball team went to regionals. The high school had a pep rally on Friday, and now both baseball and softball have started preseason.
I think about the man.
What?
And concerts coming up.
I do know that drama, we were supposed to have a pus play, but I think it's just doing a one act. I don't exactly know the full details. We keep changing it. And band, I actually have no idea. I have no idea.
Any
I
news
just
on
thought I'd
that?
ask.
Oh, and then prom is coming up as well, and as well as senior trips.
Anything on track?
I saw a post about it, about that they're trying to get a coach, but I'm not exactly sure.
Not happening? Okay.
Mr. CBO report.
Alright, well, to kick off my portion of the things, Lieutenant Garcia, our auditor is here to present her, our audit findings and everything from the 2021 school year. So, Lieutenant, the floor is yours.
Okay, I don't know if I'm supposed to stand up here or what.
Wherever
No, we don't
you
have a podium.
It's a little late for talking about June 30th of 21, but because of COVID, the state extended the audit due date until January 31st. So this was the first chance we had to get out here and talk about it. As you know, the primary purpose of the audit is to give an opinion on the financial statements. Our opinion is that the financial statements are fairly presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. It's also a compliance audit. So while we're here, we test your compliance with federal laws and regulations, and we test what are called major programs, the big ones. This year, it was all of the COVID money. the ESSER money, the GEAR money, and the coronavirus relief funds. And we found that the district was in compliance with all of the compliance requirements related to those programs. And then we also test your compliance with state laws and regulations, and those changed quite a bit due to distance learning and all the changes associated with that. And I have to say, you guys did one of the best jobs I saw on attendance. Of all the districts that I audit, yours was the most straightforward, and it was probably the easiest to audit. So kudos on that. We did have a couple of repeat findings with state compliance. But overall, I would say this is one of the best audits we've had in quite a few years. Your reserves are up, the findings are down. Overall, I think everybody did a really good job for 2021. So I guess with that, does anybody have any questions?
How many repeat?
Two.
Were they?
We had kindergarten retention forms, and there was a slight discrepancy on the school accountability report card. And I know they're kind of, this SARC one is a little ticky-tack, but because it was a finding the year before, I had to make it again.
I just want to say thank you so much for talking about the attendance forms, because that goes to our teachers. Those forms, when I first asked to have those forms done, I'm sure that, my back probably had lots of holes in it, but they did an amazing job, as you saw, box after box.
Yeah, actually, when I came in to audit that week and I saw all the boxes in the back there, I was excited.
Yeah, and I was so happy that you, believe it or not, that you asked to see those documents, because it validated for me that I had not just asked the teachers in vain to do something of nonsense, but this was really going to be something that was part of the audit. And so I just want to say publicly, thank you to all of our teachers in Southern Kern, because they took those on week after week after week after week.
And they were great.
Thank you,
And,
thank you.
I went to some districts that tried to reinvent the process and did a terrible job. You guys did what the state recommended. The audit guide was written for what the state recommended, and it was just check, 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 and it went very smoothly.
Thank you for acknowledging that.
Okay, you guys are easy on me tonight.
Assistant Superintendent, Instructional and Curriculum, Lisa.
Good evening, everyone, and I'm so glad to see even more people out here than normal. I, as well as Mrs. Ferguson, went to an amazing training last week. This is training, which is curriculum and instruction, and it was just phenomenal. We got to hear Dr. Doug Fisher do a presentation there, and he's one of the people that we're having come out to do PD for our teachers on August 8th. And he is absolutely phenomenal. The teachers are going to really love that professional development day and spending the time with him. That was just one of the highlights of the training. There were lots of them. Our next pilot at Roseman High School, both of them are starting the training for it next week for history and for science. And then they will start the actual pilot on March 14th. Our Success for All trainer visited about 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and she is back this week. She was at Roseman Elementary School today, and she'll be at West Park tomorrow. She's had nothing but absolute wonderful things to say about both school sites and her time working with the teachers. I met with Mr. Ken O'Connor today to plan next Thursday's grading committee work, and we're going to start moving forward a little bit more quickly with that and getting some decisions made. And with this today, I was invited to Roseland Elementary School. One of their class teachers asked me to come and read a story to their students for Read Across America today, and I just loved that. And if anybody else wants me to come out to their class, please, feel free. I'd love to come out and visit the schools and read to the students. I sure do miss them. And it's just good every once in a while to get out there and see those cute little faces. And that is it for me. Thanks again, everybody, for coming out tonight.
Superintendent, Ms. Harvey?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I too enjoyed the Skusd conference. There were lots of dynamic speakers and just little breakout sessions that we were able to go to and learn some different things. Doug Fisher is amazing to listen to. So teachers, that you are in for a real treat. Again, another very dynamic speaker. And congratulations to all of our Brisbane High School, our winter sports, soccer and basketball, and congratulations on your records that you broke and your MVP awards. So congratulations to you. And also, I do have a calendar that I wanted to talk about tonight, just briefly. So this is a calendar that we are going to be proposing and bringing to you at the next board meeting. So really, the only changes, kind of how we put our committee together, we'll talk about that first, is we have some members of CSEA, we have some administrative members, some board members, and some members from RTA. So we all get together and I put together just some different type calendars, and we look at all of them. Everybody goes back to their respective associations, talks about them, and finds what is important to them. Now, if you look at this calendar, it pretty much mirrors the calendar that we had this year, almost to a T. Now, when CSEA came back, they said, okay, well, we took our survey and we like calendar number 1 and number 4. This is calendar number 1. Number 4 had spring break down there in April because Easter is actually on the 9th. So it was down there in April. So when we came in and we spoke we had our meeting yesterday. When we had our discussion, the teacher said, well, you know what, it'd be great to have spring break, because it was a few extra days. But the problem with it is that if we come back on the 11th, we have to start our CASA testing right after that. So we said, oh, you know what, we get that. So let's go back and we'll look at calendar number 1. So we looked at calendar number 1. We really wanted to, and I shared with the committee yesterday, this year we only have that Friday, and we have that Friday because in our CSEA association, they always have a Friday off. That is one of the stipulations in their contract. So we are going to be presenting our calendar prior to having that data for Easter, because Easter is a little bit late this year. But many of the committee members felt that it was valuable to have that Monday after Easter because there's going to be a lot of families that travel, staff families that travel, our students, and their families travel. And that was really one of the reasons for taking that day off of October. That's really the main difference of the calendar is we took that Friday after parent conferences, moved parent conferences to Friday, and the conferences will be held during the school day, just like they were this year, at their regular school day, so it'll be just like a regular school day for everybody. And then the teacher said, hey, well, because the minimum day was actually on Wednesday, and they said, well, is it possible to move that minimum day from Wednesday to Thursday? We said, absolutely. We can move that from Wednesday to Thursday because that would be a day that the teachers would have to prepare, so really it didn't matter one way or the other. We could still celebrate our Great American Shakeout. So those were some of our rationales. And I think I heard it mentioned that, so we put in an inclement weather day this year. Just because with all this kind of craziness, we thought, at some point we might have to take a day off So we'll put it back in. Now, if we had a Friday, if we took that 10th off, put it back up there after parent conferences, and then moved the inclement weather day, we would then end school on a Monday. So that really doesn't work out well for attendance purposes, and everybody, by the time we get to that Friday, everyone's like, yeah, we're done. Who wants to come back on Monday? So that really doesn't work out so well. So anybody, any comments or questions about it?
I do.
Yes.
You said that the parent conference meeting is all day long.
It would be during their regular school hours.
That makes it kind of hard for some parents at work.
And we did it that way this year. And so we are, our surrounding districts, everybody does it during the school day. So we're following suit with that.
Now, are they doing a lot of virtual ones?
No.
Not a big fan. Now, the Easter holiday, does that one fall at the end of the semester? Or is it, because I know the semester ends, or the quarter, I'm sorry.
The quarter will have already ended. So the quarter ends in March. Progress reports are on the 28th of April. And then we would go from the 28th of April to.
It's a few weeks into the fourth quarter.
What?
Yeah, a few weeks into the fourth quarter.
I know that was a big question a couple of years ago about ending the, having the break too far into the year, and it would make for a long, I think,
Sure.
didn't we have it where it went like way too many days between the Christmas break and then the spring break? And then we ended up moving it in. I don't remember.
Every so often it's.
No, that's not an issue. The placement of the quarters are fine and appropriate. I think you're talking about the third quarter.
Yeah.
Where it appears on trying to see here, March 10th is the end of the third quarter, and that's 1 week in front of spring break.
Which wouldn't be a big deal.
No, this year, the end of the third quarter is right at the last day before spring break.
Yeah, okay.
Doesn't matter either way.
Okay. I remember something that we were gonna put it earlier, and then said, no, we gotta move it because of the.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
this way, kind of, and that was another conversation piece that we had with, if spring break was in April, March would kind of be a long month, it'd be going on that there were no days off, so this kind of gives us something every month.
And Mr. Coleman, you were saying that the teachers would prefer to have the parent-teacher conference on the Thursday, October 20th, and then have that Friday the 21st off, is that what I'm understanding?
Which is what it's been for like the last 20 years, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wednesday the 19th will be the minimum day. Wednesday the 19th would be the minimum day for preparation. Parent conferences would be Thursday the 20th, and then a non-student day would be on the 21st. That would then take away the non-student day after Easter, on Easter Monday, which you see up there is April 10th.
Yeah.
So it's a swap out of those 2 days. I didn't really follow Mrs. Harvis's discussion about the inclement weather day, that Monday would have to be a student day because
So if
you're
you,
just swapping.
because you're adding a non-student in there.
No, you're moving the non-student day from the 10th.
You're adding, because what you want to do is, if the 10th moved up to the 21st, and then you move the 6th up to the 10th, you're adding a non-student day.
Well, no, I'm saying the 10th, April 10th would be a student day. So that doesn't affect.
Okay, but then I
That doesn't
apologize.
affect
I
the
thought you
inclement weather
said,
day.
I thought you were talking about moving
No,
it
no,
on
no.
weather day.
So we were just confused about that. That's not.
Oh,
really-
okay.
That's not really the issue here, the inclement weather day.
Okay, I just wanted to, I apologize if I misunderstood what you said. I thought you were wanting to move that, and it was like, well, that we can't, that would be great if we could, but it just adds another non-student day. You know,
Please understand, I'm not pushing one thing here. I'm just explaining what was our position and trying to clarify.
sure. You know, and because we are bringing our calendar on the 16th, we only have the Friday this year, so it'd be interesting to see that attendance data for that Monday. You know, how that, you know, after, the day after Easter, if our attendance is really low on that day, so. But we won't have that information before we approve the calendar, so. Anyway, I think this is a good calendar, and it, you know, I think it benefits everybody, staff, students, and parents. So, and that's kind of what our goal is to, you know, make something that everybody can agree with and is beneficial. So.
We did have our parent conference last year. Did we have any input from the parents on how, did we have a good turnout? Did the parents say, hey, you know, I'd like my spouse to be here, but they can't be here till 6? I mean, I remember going to them, and it was nice because it was when I got home from work, I could get the kids and say, we're going to go talk to your teachers. Yeah, they went there and had fun, and it was a good time. But I don't, do we have any numbers or anybody say anything how it worked out?
Can we, I mean, we have several teachers and administrators say that might be. We had decent, I had about 75% turnout, but I do have some parents that have requested later times, and I know that, like Jim said, the teachers had said he would consider it if it was on a Thursday, but if it's later in the evening for us, for parent-teacher conferences, that's not.
And can I just say that for older students, like high school and middle school, parents don't generally attend, and they're going to see that as a 3-day weekend and not go at all. That's what I foresee happening. For our grade levels, they still care. But for those older kids, they're not gonna get anybody to show on Friday.
And that's typical at the high school?
Well, you had asked about the data. I mean, it's hard to really dictate over the last year for the fact that a lot of people also didn't come out because of COVID, to be honest.
Yeah, I figured last year would be a horrible time. I couldn't
Last year,
imagine
it was
anybody.
virtual. It was purely virtual.
No, last year was in person, the year before.
Oh, well, this is still this year. So no, I'm saying last school year. Right, it was virtual. Sorry. Right, this year, so I'm saying this school year was in person, but it was very hard to have any data because we had a lot of people who requested virtual because of last year. We had some teachers try to oblige and we're doing it over the phone and stuff like that, but we haven't really been back at the time. If you think about back in October, for the people to really feel 100% safe to probably commit to campus.
Question for you. How long do we keep our records for attendance?
We probably could go, I mean,
Can we go back?
In areas you can go back and talk.
Let's see what the attendance is on the Monday after.
Years or years.
Yeah, go back a few years and see if it,
yeah, we have to
we
look at
have
the calendar to see what our.
80% or 50% or whatever. And that'll give us data whether or not it's worth making a no student day or move the student day up for the other. So that data would really help us make a decision.
So if you're gonna get that data, could you also look to see the attendance the week before Easter when it is Holy Week and there's a lot of Hispanic people that leave and go to Mexico for Holy Week to be with their families. So what is the attendance for that as well then?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, because I know a lot of people, especially the Spanish community, will go visit their families at that time, and also during Christmas, we usually see a big influx of people
Exactly.
that leave a couple of days early. So they spend extra time with the family, and a lot of times we don't see them back right away the first couple of days of school. So that would be kind of neat to see.
Survey says that the business office, Tammy has that for every year, for every day. She could just look at a report.
Can we get that for the meeting next time?
And I think that's why we have that whole week off, right? Before Easter. We thought about the people leaving out of town and that.
But that week isn't before Easter week. Easter week. The week before
That's
Easter
why we
is
wanted
before
to add that, that's why we were thinking, or that the Monday after Easter would be good for those people that need to travel to those people and those types of things. A lot of people miss that next day.
Now, there was something about that Thursday, right? That was the Great American Shake.
It is
On the
Great
20th,
American
wanna
Shake.
keep that.
And that's not just in Southern Kern, that's
That's everywhere.
everywhere.
And we want to keep that.
Yeah, last year I moved it to Tuesday, and it was a disaster.
Is that the 20th or the?
It is, and even though it's a minimum day, it's, you know, the Great American Shakeout doesn't last that long.
Typically, we're in early in the morning. Early in the night.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so thank
for
you.
information, thanks. I got one question for Jim. You mentioned, the time frame so that we can also reach the parents who are, you know, trying to beat the traffic to get here. What would be the time frame that you have in mind to start and end, the conference?
The parent conferences are going to be during the work day. It should match the work day.
Yes, sir.
Previously, for many years, parent conferences were from 1 in the afternoon until 8 in the evening with a 1-hour dinner break.
Yeah, I remember because several of them were kids, so I know. That's the reason why I wanted to know what it is, because I couldn't remember the time frame. But I wanted to have that as a good topic of discussion. So I appreciate that.
Part of an email I sent to Mrs. Hargis today was, I was just kicking around the idea of this Friday parent conferences. What should the workday look like? It's a Friday. The teachers are going to be very firm that my regular end of the school day is my regular end of the school day. And the teachers at West Park end at 1:30, 1:25. The teachers at Tropico end at 3:05. There's no way to make that consistent without it blowing up. So the only way to do that is to just say, okay, if it's going to be on that Friday, it's your regular work day, regular student work day. For instance, the teachers at West Park have to be at work at 7 in the morning, but the student day is 7:30. So it should go from 7:30 to 1:25. They normally have a couple of breaks and certainly a 30-minute lunch. I would like to work with Mrs. Gaines and Mrs. Hargis about, on that parent conference day, what that would look like. Yeah. The elementary teachers schedule conferences every 10 to 15 minutes per student, which they can do with 25 students. At the secondary level, it's first come, first serve. Right? Parents wait in the line, you've been through it, you've all been through it. Parents wait in the line and first come, first serve, move them in, move them out, and try to give them what they need and deserve and is appropriate. It's everybody who thinks it's no problem sitting there doing parent conferences. You sit in that chair for 3 hours without moving and talking nonstop, and then tell me you haven't worn yourself out, and then take a break and come back and do it for another time. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying these are the issues. Please just be considerate of what we're trying to say.
That's my question, why I asked that. Thank you.
So, guys, have we ever thought about doing it, and I don't know, I'm just going like when I did in New York, where we actually had half a day, then you had your afternoon session and your evening session. Is that asking too much?
A half a day with students.
Oh, I'm being honest, that's what we did, yeah.
And do parent
And then you had the next day off, because then that's how you kind of negotiated your day off. I'm just asking, I'm not, you know.
And that's the whole history of this. This is
Yeah, that's how it
Marcus.
started.
This is Marcus.
Oh, okay,
Miss Lacy.
Yeah.
And the whole
Yeah.
history of this.
Yes,
As
so
to where this started, where it came from, and I'd be happy to have that 30-minute conversation.
Yeah, just briefly, because elementary has so few, we had like a minimum day. So, I mean, many people could fit those parent conferences at the elementary level on Wednesday, so they had Thursday off. Whereas secondary didn't have
Okay.
that option, and they just worked all day Thursday. That's where the Friday came into play.
Okay,
Everybody got their day off, so just.
I mean, it was a heck of a day, but it was a long day that I just remember back in the yard.
Yeah, it used to be a minimum day and then the next morning is how it worked, so that you could have an evening time and a morning time.
Okay,
And
strike
then-
out for the record. That's good.
We've been around a few minutes.
Yes, so thank you, I'm all finished.
Ms. Gaines.
Thank you. Okay, good evening and welcome to everyone. I want to begin this evening by giving a huge shout out to our athletic teams who have recently competed at Roseman High School. I'll start with our boys basketball team who took the Division League Championship. Yeah, awesome. These young men under Coach Brandon Tapia played their hearts out. I was able to get to watch them a couple of nights, and I came to the conclusion my heart just, I was getting really nervous. I was not only impressed with their athletic ability, but also with the sportsmanship and character they displayed on and off the court. It was wonderful to see a Roseman High basketball player helping another player from the other team get up, or just shaking hands and patting them on the back. It was a beautiful sight. During their playoff season, one of the team members, Aiden Rakisitz, was in a bad automobile accident, but he is doing so much better now. I had the chance to meet him and chat with him a bit last night. He was there at the game to support his team. And so shout out to Aiden as well. If we're going to talk about High Desert Division League champs, we cannot leave out our boys varsity soccer team, coached by Miguel Guillen. They too had an incredible season, and we are so proud of their achievement. They took league as well. Our girls soccer team took third in league, and our student board member, Alexi, set an all-time record in league for goals. I don't know what to say. I can't imagine if I could even kick one goal, much less set a record. What an accomplishment that is as well. So proud of you. I also want to acknowledge our girls soccer team who took third place in league under Coach Mark Notterman, and the girls basketball team under Coach Justin Armstrong, who also took third in the High Desert League. And I also want to give a shout out to Mr. Shevlin. Mr. Shevlin inherited, I guess is the best way to maybe say it, the athletic position from, I guess, the final football game up till now. I don't know that it's, he wanted it, but he inherited it. So thank you, Mr. Shevlin, for the work you've done for keeping all of our teams and their games and everything, the transportation, everything in place. I so appreciate that. Finally, I'm pleased to announce that effective Saturday, March 2nd, and I say Saturday because we have a Saturday school plan. March, what did I say?
Second.
March 2nd.
We're like, hey, that's today.
No. Let me start over. Exit. I actually have March 12th written here. Anyway, I'm pleased to announce that effective Saturday, March 12th, our students will no longer be required to wear a mask at school. That said, parents who are listening, we will certainly respect your decision to continue having your child
wear a mask if you so choose to do so. That option remains open to you as parents. We will continue to keep our testing center open, and I want to remind our parents that if you are in need of a home test, we still have some available. Please stop by Ed Services or our business office, and they have some to give you. And yeah, that's it for me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, Jim.
What I have to say, everything's okay. I'm happy. So that's all.
Let's keep on being happy, guys. Well, I want to thank everybody that's here. I'd like to thank all of the staff, SEA, RTA, all the teachers, all of the staff, everybody that's helping our kids turn into outstanding human beings, hopefully, you know what I mean? We gotta just keep trying and praying, I guess. But that's all I have. The weather's changing, spring's coming. Hope you guys are gonna be planting something. Yeah.
You know, it's gonna be cold again.
I didn't say it's coming yet. Spring is coming. Think about it. It's good for your emotional well-being. You know what I mean? Touch the soil, grow something. It's very nice. That's all I have.
Well, thanks for everybody for coming tonight. We appreciate it. And those who are tuned in and watching from outside. I want to, just echo everything that Mrs. Gaines has said about the sports programs. That's where we'd like to see them go. Poor Ed's got dual duties, but we appreciate everything he's done with the athletics. I mean, coming in to this thing was the way that he had to come in. As far as I can tell, you're doing an outstanding job, and I thank you, and as well, I think the board does too, for the job that you're out there. As Mr. Quillen has mentioned, board members are more and more active on some of the subcommittees. I'm on the calendar committee. Basically sit on the committee, listen to what's going on, kind of the eyes and ears for Mrs. Gaines as well. I listen to what's going on, and that's why I asked a couple of questions to Mr. Quillen, because I'm a firm believer that we want and need parent participation as much as we can get it. And the best way to do that is, if we got to adjust our times, we need to work with RTA so we can do that to get the parents in to because without parents, we have too many kids that still don't make it. And I look at that, and for one reason is that when I first went to work on the SAM, worked as an education specialist, developing programs, audiovisual training lessons for the Army at the 5th grade level. The kids were not coming out of high school reading beyond the 5th grade level. So I'm always interested in we get those kids going. We're with Sunny. We need to get our kids in our educational level up for them. And that's basically all. And I believe we're going to have interviews coming up very shortly for the athletic administrator. So everybody who's applied, good luck. And same thing. Hopefully we've got some potential varsity football coaches that are applying. We definitely want to start getting that program back to where it was way back when. That's all I have.
I want to thank everybody for coming, because this is nice to have an audience here. And thank you for those that are viewing on their computers. I want to echo what Barbara said earlier about the boys in our sports, that they were just amazing sportsmen. Even when they were down, if a player went down, they'd go and help him. Didn't matter who he was. So you don't see that very often in sports. They'll usually step over him and keep going. But I was just very impressed with our kids. So besides that, every game was a nail biter. So I really enjoyed watching them play. I guess that's it. We've got the kindergarten classrooms are going to be done soon. That has been a project that's really, really coming together now, and it's going to be.
Bell was up and so pretty today.
The what?
The bell, it was known as.
Oh, beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, the bell that has been in Southern Current since its conception got put up at the Roseman Elementary School, as it was always at a Roseman Elementary School. And so it's back.
And so it's in the little quad by the new kindergarten area on this really nice platform. It looks beautiful right there in that big grassy area. They're working on the grass today. It looked great. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
I was very excited about it when you mentioned that.
And we have a lot of other building projects that we're working on. So hopefully they all come to completion at one time or another. So it's just been busy. Okay. With that, we have comments from the public. Danza?
It's Donica.
Danica?
Donica.
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 Okay, it looks like an A.
It is. It is. In Spanish, it's better. Okay, well, good evening, board members and Superintendent Gaines. My name is Donica Hendrickson, and I am a second grade teacher at West Park Elementary. I come before you all to simply ask for assistance. This school year, not unlike the last 2 school years, has been incredibly difficult. There have been many changes, high expectations, and high demand of all of us teachers. This year, it was the first year to have the normal start to a school year in 2 years. This year, the teachers were introduced very briefly to 2 new curriculums, and we were expected to implement it. We have done our best, even though these new curriculums, the new curriculum and lack of proper training has put a lot on our plates. But now some of the classes are being asked to implement a 3rd new curriculum. This curriculum is for a specific time of day and for the elementary teachers. This time and curriculum has been changed on the elementary teachers more than halfway through the school year. We were also expected to implement these changes with less than 48 hours notice. I ask you, how do you expect our teachers to provide an exceptional learning environment for all of our learners with such short notice? Yes, our district has some amazing teachers, but we are not superheroes. We are educated professionals who spend our time creating a learning environment that is inclusive for all learners. Instead of asking more of us, why not ask us what we need? I assure you that the teachers in this school district know their students' needs. The expectation and blatant disregard for our time and attention is sad and quite frankly, it's baffling. It seems that the district is implementing things without even considering our input. We are the ones teaching, and we know what our students need. It would be really nice to be considered. But the truth is that it is the teachers who teach the students. It's not programs. But more than anything, we need paraeducators. In my first year teaching 2nd grade, we were blessed with 2 paraeducators in the 2nd grade. The next year, we were cut down to 1 paraeducator due to budget cuts. Now, we are no longer in a budget crisis, but where are our paraeducators? We know that our research has shown that academic achievement is directly correlated to teacher-to-student ratio. Since we have claimed that this school year is the year of the child, it is clear that we need to reevaluate our priorities when it pertains to the support inside and outside of our classrooms. This year, with 2 new curriculums, our students missing essentially a year and a half of critical fundamental learning, our 2nd grade paraeducators were removed. Our students are the ones who truly benefit from their one-on-one and small group help. When given proper intervention early, this makes students more successful in upper grades. Here in 2nd grade, we are being asked to do whole group instruction, run small group intervention, and assess students one-on-one. This is extremely difficult to do so without an extra body in our classroom. If getting more paraeducators is not financially feasible, is it possible to consider parent volunteers once again? We have also discussed as a site requesting intervention teachers again. This was implemented a couple of years ago and it was successful as well.
We all work in this field for the love of the children, and we want to see them succeed. We want to make a positive and strong impact on their lives. Please give us teachers a chance to bring you our needs before you allow the funds to be spent on other things for the classroom. Give us a chance to show you what we need in our classrooms instead of assuming that you know. We all support the Year of the Child, but to support this initiative, you must let us do what we do best, and that is teach. If it is at all an option, can we please consider the teachers and what we are being asked to do with no support, aid, or assistance? Thank you for your time.
And I do have one comment. You guys are super.
only on Tuesdays.
Why only Tuesdays?
And I don't get paid superhero pay. I don't get that hazard pay, sir.
I like your t-shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
It's got a good message.
It's Dr. Seuss speak, so we are all out.
You said you're a second grade teacher?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you write your name down.
Running high.
Your family has.
I'm sorry, Donica, how many second grade classes do you have? at your
We have
site?
6 second grade classes.
So they had 2 paraeducators divided among 6 teachers. Then it was 1 paraeducator divided among 6 teachers. Now it's 0.
We are.
I want to thank you so much for coming. I wish we get more teachers come and talk to us about this stuff. I want to know about kindergarten, first, second, third grade. That's our foundation.
Sir?
We've got to have everything you guys need to teach. We've got to.
We've been requesting since the beginning of the school year. We've been
I know it's been a tough start, but even volunteers, are we allowed to do that yet with these stupid masks going away?
I don't think we can yet.
Not yet.
It shouldn't be volunteers, it should be trained, hired, paid.
Well, I said even volunteers. I agree with you, Jim, and we could get 20 teachers in that classroom. But very educators, I appreciate the help. We need to get somebody in to help out.
Okay, let's continue on. Consent items A through K, does anybody have any questions on those?
I do have a question. Sorry. For item F, cyber works. So I looked at the program. So what do we have now that compares to that? So do we have something now that's like that system?
Currently, no. This is kind of, what happened is our ACES program, staff, they work the afternoon shift and the after school program. They wanted some training, but we currently don't have the ability to send them out to training because we don't have very many substitutes at this time. So I was looking for a different online option that could provide them with some of the same types of training that all 3 of the ACES program coordinators were asking for their staff as it's much needed. This was a program, and it's the program that we're getting from them is meant just for the after school program.
Okay.
And it does a lot of training on classroom management, ideas for curriculum and how to use that within after school program type setting. So this program, this professional development, I looked at several, and this was the one that really focused in on after school program specifically. So I thought it could be a very good system to use because they have other different options as well. And I thought starting this program with the funds that we have for the after school program would be a good way to look at it and see if it's worth keeping for future or maybe using with other different, especially classified staff members to provide for new incoming employees and for training for them throughout the school year. But I thought this would be a great way to have the funding to check this company out and see how it works. And it's pretty inexpensive, actually.
Okay.
We are in desperate need of training for our after-school instructors, especially because they're kind of thrust into this position without a lot of training, and they're responsible for 20 students.
Thank you.
Mr. Gutierrez, I'm out of order, but can I ask one question on this agenda item?
Yes.
Item G, agreement for an adaptive PE program. Have we advertised to hire adaptive PE teachers?
Yes, we actually have, one of the position, we interviewed 5 people. 5 people said, yes, we'd like the job. And then they decided, oh, no, can't take the job after all. So this is this person actually, is a retired APE person who's gonna come in twice a week and do the hours that we need for adaptive PE. So yes, we have tirelessly
Thank you
for
very much.
APE.
That's all I wanted to ask. I'm sorry.
No,
We've
no,
advertised
please.
and tried to fill that position with, will be a unit member. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no, absolutely.
Any more questions? And I need a motion.
Move that we accept.
Mr. Rensselaer, second? I'll second.
I'll second.
Mr. Henderson. All in favor?
Aye.
Absent. First reading, review and approval of policy 6146-1. And if you want to give me a little rundown on this, because I don't know what this.
Okay. Basically, the policy that was approved prior by the board, that Ms. Hepburn and I, in reviewing board policies, brought to the board was the state's recommendation for high school graduation. But when you look at what we have a history of requiring for graduation requirements in Southern Kern, ours is a little more rigorous and a little more demanding. So, for example, which makes sense, in Southern Kern, we require 4 years of high school English, 9, 10, 11, 12, 6 semesters of math, or 3 years of math, 4 semesters, 2 years of science, social studies, we have 4 years of social studies, including health, world history, U.S. history, and government civics, and economics for a semester. Physical education is 4 semesters. So, and fine arts is 2 semesters. Vocational CTE is 2 semesters in Southern Kern. And then we have general electives of 12 semesters or 60 credits. We want to keep our board policy of the requirements to graduate in Southern Kern.
I thought PE was 4 years.
No.
Okay.
There's a lot of kids not graduating.
What's that?
Unfortunately, we have a lot of kids not graduating, it's 4 years.
Okay.
I want to thank, no, this is for action, President Gutierrez. I want to thank also Mrs. Akinini and her team for providing these requirements, because they caught the error immediately that those might be state requirements, but that's not what we required here at Southern Kern, or what we have a history of requiring.
I know our academic program is tougher than a lot of the ones that have. Okay. Need a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Select, second by Mr. Leonard. All in favor?
Aye.
No more ayes, one absent.
Lexi, you can actually, participate.
And we expect that.
Yeah, we expected.
I told, I was told.
No, she's quiet, real quiet, so that's why I just asked Mario. Your name's on there, so let's get a little participation here, young lady.
Saying some eyes over there.
Yeah, I do say
Something.
aye.
We don't want
I
you just
just say to speak some of you guys.
adjourn, we want you to, let's participate. Okay.
Second reading and approval of the list of board policies from December 2021, sorry. The only one that I remember that we had to check with was the no fees for the after-school program. And
And the meetings and notices for,
are all posted at our district office.
This is the second reading, President Gutierrez, and brought back to you this evening with that as an action item.
Yes. Your
Motion?
motion by.
I second.
Got it. I pointed at her, I was trying to get in the 50.
All in favor?
Ms. Finch.
Ms. Finch, I thought she was first. I'm
I
sorry.
never heard that one.
Yeah, we did. You knew it was gonna get you eventually.
Consider approval of the 2021, 2022 consolidated application and reporting system. Who is Mr.
Yes. All right, I started to put together a presentation and realized I had about 13 slides that look basically identical. And instead of just being like, well, no, this is slightly different, the headings, figure I just toss the whole thing, but, it was boring for me to look at, let alone try and, engage an audience with. So the text are on the board agenda are the various reports that are part of the consolidated application. So this is our Title I, Title II, Title III, and Title IV spending. Nuts and bolts of it are outside of Title II. We are not spending. While we do have expenditure, it's very close, if not over, what our allowable carryover would be in a typical year, where we are, coming back from financial issues, filed with, a lot of one-time money from the state and federal governments both have created a, wonderful issue of here's a bunch of money, some of it expires sooner than later, spend, so.
What you use first?
Yeah. So it's, as we get back more into a normal, school year without masks and mandates and everything else, that, we can zero in and focus in this year on our LCAP of knowing what to expect and how to better allocate all of our funds, whether it is LCFF money or federal money such as the title program, so that, while we're, building reserves, we're also spending money wisely and using funds that if we aren't going to use them, we're going to lose them regardless. We don't get to, take this money for year after year after year and hold on to it and do nothing with it. There's a.
I think you always have to keep in mind the fact that some of these monies aren't going to continue. So
Oh, yeah.
as far as certain title programs, we have to be very careful as to not add things to those that we won't eventually be able to pay for out of other funds.
Right.
So, and then, those issues coupled with, Title I specifically is all about supplementing, not supplanting. So we can't just be like, okay, we've been doing this for years and years and years now. We're just going to use Title I money to do it. We can probably get away for a year, depending on when the FPM audit happens, and then once it becomes an audit finding,
Next year.
we're giving that money back anyway. So there are folks that come and look at this on a semi-regular basis. And we want to make sure that, everything we're doing is above board and we don't have to, use any of these funds without having to give anything back. So that concludes my presentation.
Okay. All right.
Oh, one thing, sorry, I got PS. This year, as a way to, further, stretch our Title I dollars, we haven't, in the years past, we haven't included the high school as part of, while they are Title I eligible. We have, for this year, started using Title I funds at the high school so that, it's a place that, you know, they have needs also, so, and this is a way to fill some of those.
And that is part of what impacted the number of paraeducators being at the different elementary school sites, because the money went to, typically in the past, there were only several schools that were Title I, and over the years, we have increased the number of schools that are considered Title I.
Any motion?
I hope somebody will.
Motion.
I motion. Second it.
Seconded by Hepburn. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Does anybody have any questions on, personnel?
I'll second.
That Hepburn?
Yes.
Motion by Hepburn, seconded by Mr. Vincent. All in favor?
Aye.
I just one little comment, do we have, positions open for paraeducators? Are we trying to fill some?
We have some special needs.
We have a hard time filling them still? I know I was in Tennessee, and every place we go into, it tells you, they got a sign, please excuse us, we can't hire people don't want to still work back there, so it's still, it's tough everywhere still, but.
It's been tough all year.
Yeah, I've been trying for 6 months trying to hire somebody. Just can't find
So
anybody who wants to work.
the three that we have starting, are they gonna be at different campuses? Do we know what campuses they're gonna be at?
I'm sorry, for
The
paraeducators.
paraeducators, yeah.
Yes, they have, yes, so one is at Rare Earth, one is at West Park. I think there's just
Special ed.
They're all special ed.
well, one is a regular classroom educator.
The one at Rare.
At Rare Earth, because they didn't have one for Title I paraeducator previously.
Okay. Motion by Ms. Finch, seconded by Ms. Gillette. All in favor?
Aye.
4 ayes. Ms. Skusd. Time?
8:21.
Thank you.
I'm gonna get you on record again, if I was good.